Hey there, friends. I'm somewhat picking up where I left off with the idea of a Quaker high school curriculum. Imagine a remote campus with horses, electric ATVs, and kids from all around, and they learn what they need to pass tests back home because they're all going home. It's not a permanent lifestyle. So they've got the Earthling math, but then we kind of teach Martian math at the camp, right? At the school in Oregon here somewhere. So let's call it a secret location for science fiction purposes because it's where we talk to the Martians are helping us build the hydroelectric power dam in that location. Now, if you've been with this channel for a while, you understand that we've got kind of a comic book scenario going where we can hang off all the knowledge branches that we need. For example, when we're building a dam over a canyon, we can talk then about how do dams work, not just the physical dam, but the hydroelectric dynamics, things about AC and DC, all of electricity. We can fit it in there in principle. I'm not saying that's where it all has to go, but there's a link to electricity early in the curriculum at whatever level you feel you want to go. But you can start talking about Tesla and the history, Edison and Westinghouse, and if you're doing an North American story, you've got a lot of material and it's a lot on YouTube and so forth. So on the left side, I assume these are correct. I haven't actually checked these. This was a random YouTube I found that would typify, say, what you'd learn in Kansas today, or maybe Ohio, right? And on the right side, this is Oregon in kind of prototype, like various experimental academies and stuff would try stuff like this and put out memes as we saw in the last episode and study philosophy. I'm working through this one at the moment. And let's talk for a second about prime numbers and how these relate actually to the shapes of polyhedrons. You might say they don't relate, but there is, you can dig for it. I'm not going to do the whole lecture here. There is a tie between 2 times really just a composite number or maybe a prime number. 2 is a prime number. Anyway, you've got a constant in front of your frequency to the second powered term. I'm talking about a term in synergetics, 2p(f) to the second power plus 2, where p is just, as he likes to say, low order primes. And by changing the prime number, you're like changing the TV channel from one polyhedron to another, the way he thinks of it. And then you're shining out at a second power rate. The surface is growing at a second power rate, volume as a third power rate, and you're getting what we call the concentric hierarchy. So the reason our volumes are not just expressed in terms of E is because sometimes we want like the cube's diagonal to matter more rather than its edge and stuff like that. So that partly accounts for why our volume formulas don't match the ones in Ohio, right, or Kansas. But when I say don't match, I just mean if you go to your English class or America in philosophy, how about that? It could be an offering like an elective. This is a pretty cool school, remember, horses, ATVs. So we have like pretty esoteric courses you can take. And say I'm teaching this one on the modules in synergetics, by which I mean A, B, S, T, and E modules. So that would be like one of the modules there, PlaneNet. We could actually cut them out. We could 3D print them, glue them together. We could already have boxes of some. And this is this kind of simple math that we're learning. So let me see if I can find the thing I'm talking about here exactly. Not exactly, but it's related to this formula with 10 already filled in, right? But it doesn't have to be a 10 in this picture. This is what I call Bhutanese math, you could say, because I made it all easy to read if you were in Bhutan. Like I was in high form at that point. So I wrote what I call a Bhutanese mathematics curriculum. This is also another very rare item. It does have an ISBN number though. And that contains more on this topic of 2pf to the second power plus 2. The plus 2 relates to the two opposite pole vertices that we associate with the spinability of these polyhedrons, that they spin around and leave great circle maps that superimpose. Now, what I do in this curriculum is as we introduce coordinates and the names of these polyhedrons, the names of the points, we start storing them in a database, because as we're in a high school sort of setting, it's time to get on with the SQL and kind of storage and retrieval schemes that have been thought up. So Jupyter Notebook is the framework, of course, and we jump around within these Jupyter Notebooks within a repo. More or less is how we roll. Calculator of tomorrow. You don't want anything less than a laptop, right? You don't want to do a math class with just a calculator or just a pen and pencil. You can do those, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them, but if you don't have access to any math that's full featured, as I'd say, you know, I agree, schools come in all different kinds, all different flavors. So this one I'm telling you about in remote Oregon, I'd say you're privileged if you get to go there, but it doesn't mean that only privileged people go there in the sense that you have to be rich or something. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just if you get this curriculum as you are right now, so you're privileged right now, because this is not very, so far, available. All right, we'll be talking soon. Hope you have a good day.